vide.
Please switch on the microphone, Mr. Etichu. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I've got this question.
According to the Public Order Ordinance, you have the military installations order. There are 18 military restricted areas, and also you have the protected place order. And again, there are some military sites which are designated protected places. But for these two types of military facilities or protected places, namely military sites, they are both managed by the garrison. If I read the relevant ordinances correctly, for the CMD in Central, this is the only, I think it's the, I think we've added a new clause to the Protected Place Safety Authorized Guards Amendment Ordinance, whereby the garrison will engage, security companies to manage the site. Throughout our discussion, many colleagues have commented that the CMD has a very important strategic function, and one cannot afford to be negligent. But it now would appear that compared with all the other military installations in Hong Kong, the security guards apparently, force is not, does not actually match up to the highest standard. I don't know why for the CMD they've adopted a lower standard of protection. And I think under the garrison law, the garrison and the SAR government both have the responsibility to protect their military installations in Hong Kong. So the garrison law also applies to the CMD. Regarding the standard of protection for the CMD, what is important is that more than 10 years ago, I think they promised the SAR government that if the place is not used for defense purposes, it should be open to the public, and that's why not the whole area was not designated as closed area. Instead, it's called closed areas. Dr. K.K. Kwok, why do you say that there's no difference in standard? I think they are stationed by the PLA. And another place, you have the place actually, protected by authorized guards. Why are you saying there's no difference? Well, actually, the protection order gives the garrison the flexibility so that if they want to appoint authorized guards, they can do that. That they do not opt to do that, they can deploy their own, staff on duty there. I think regarding the authorized guards amendment order, A7, B7C, it doesn't say that the garrison will actually be guarding the CMD. Do you actually have that option for the garrison? According to the Protected Place Safety Authorized Guards Amendment Ordinance, Section 2, 3, and 4, they all say that the Hong Kong garrison can protect its own sites, and Mr. G can refer to that. Other than that, according to the garrison law, the duties of the garrison is stipulated. That is in Chapter 2, 5, Bracket 2. It says the duty of the garrison is to manage the military installations. Chairman. So according to Cap 260C, Section 3, namely a senior naval, the authorized clerks, protected by a senior naval officer. Is that what you're saying? Yes. Next, Dr. K.K. Kwok. Thank you. This is a question for the administration. I think we all remember that at that particular site, we would stage the, Dragon Boat race there every year. I would like to make an inquiry, that is, regarding the arrangements for this year. We don't know the details yet, but when the order comes into force, comes into effect, when the relevant organizations organize such events like the Dragon Boat, races, would they be affected? And secondly, the administration could answer this question. That is, even though the CMD will be used by the garrison, but in fact, the garrison tend to use more often the naval dock in Stonecutters Island. So I don't know whether or not, whether there are any particular times in the year where the dock will be used by the garrison, because that will give us a rough idea as to when the CMD will be open to the public. I'm just assuming the government could confirm that. If the POA is not using the CMD, then the area where the CMD is will be open to the public. If they're going to use it in a year, only for one day in a year, then it will be open for the rest of the year. Is that right? Yes. To answer your first question regarding the staging of mega events and whether or not they will be affected, we've told the garrison that that we may be staging Dragon Boat races in the waters outside the CMD, and we're now liaising with the garrison as to whether or not there could be a mechanism for us to apply for the use of the military site there. And secondly, regarding the naval base in Stonecutter Islands and how it's used. This is actually confidential information. I'm saying that the PLA is now using the base in Stonecutters Island. What I mean is that it's very less likely that they will be using the CMD. If they don't use it so frequently, then I presume that the site will be open most of the time throughout the year. I don't know what mechanism they will adopt going forward. I think Dr. Kwok's simple question is whether or not the usage rate will be very high. Do you know how frequently would the garrison be using the CMD? I think regarding the use of the CMD, we cannot make any estimate. We are the SAR government, but we cannot presume that the usage rate will be low. After we've handed over the dock to the garrison, they have in fact told us that it will be used as a military site for defense purpose. So the practical question is this. Now, if at a particular time they need to use the CMD, then the government would also like the public to enjoy the harbourfront as soon as possible, as much as possible. Well, then apparently there's a conflict. Well, this is a place which we look forward to the public being able to use the site after the recommendation completed. But the garrison said, no, we need to deploy a gunboat there, and if the gunboat is deployed there, then we should not access the area. So I think the public will be very disappointed in that case. Well, this is a dock. Whether or not it's open to the public, the nature itself will not change. If a naval vessel is being berthed there, of course I cannot tell Dr. Kwok how long the military vessel will be berthed there, because it's not our decision. What is important is that the garrison will exercise discretion and make exceptions, and they have promised that in future, on the basis that it will not prejudice the military functions, then the place will be open to the public. I think it's about 6 minutes before we adjourn, and we have 2 more members to ask questions. I'm going to exercise my authority to extend the meeting by 15 minutes so that the 2 members can finish with the questions. Mr. Olokin. Chairman, I hope after our meeting today, the Security Bureau can consider my suggestion. I'm not. I feel a little bit uneasy because this is all based on verbal agreement with the garrison. If you say you have internal records but you are not able to disclose that, but that internal record exactly would tell us, you know, when the police will be involved after a certain incident happens. So I don't think we are able to address the public's concern as to how the place is to be managed. So I'd like to suggest that before the next meeting, the administration could give us a written statement telling us when the place will be open, how it's going to be managed. These are the things that you need to talk to the garrison and hope there could be a written reply. But if you're not able to do that, I may even consider that you might suggest that you should invite a representative from garrison to answer our questions. Well, this is a very sensitive point. Mr. I'd like to tell you that we don't have that authority. For example, Section 4.24 of the rule for Select Committee, it said that subcommittee invite relevant organizations to submit views or make oral submissions, and these are the people who could be invited. Looking at the garrison law, Section 15, we said the SR government and garrison should, establish, a liaison to discuss matters relating to the garrison. The amendment to the subsidiary legislation is for the purpose of the garrison. For the garrison to come to this council to tell us about the specific arrangements regarding the implementation of the subsidiary legislation is really necessary. So I don't know how the chairman of the administration, think about that. I think Mr. Au was talking about liaison with the government and not LegCo. So perhaps the government can answer the question. Thank you. Regarding the CMD, the garrison will provide a lot of information to the public. First of all, after it has decided on a strategy and regarding the opening of the area and the timing of the opening, they promise to let the public, to inform the public. During the time when it is open, when the public goes into the protected place, what will be the restrictions? For example, even the restrictions when you enter a park, not to mention a military site. So those restrictions will be clearly explained to the public. Thirdly, what activities could be staged there and what would not. I'm sure all the information will be transparent. I think the garrison certainly will provide sufficient notice and everything will be in black and white. Regarding management, the place is not a closed area surrounded by four walls. There will be a high degree of transparency. So it's going to be managed in a very transparent manner, military installation that is managed in a transparent manner. As to whether or not we have the authority to give disclose details regarding the management of the site, we don't. Because according to the garrison law, it's part of the defense work, and we're not able to access such information. Mr. I'll read out Section 15 of the garrison law regarding the mechanism for, liaison. We do have such a mechanism, but that is only restricted to the, say for example, for the CMD, we do have a mechanism, which is that when something happens, when somebody is injured, or if somebody were to die because of a heart attack on the site, which telephone number should the garrison call, which department should it approach for assistance. This is the mechanism that we're referring to. If I may make a suggestion, it said that, well, at least I don't know what actually you have discussed with the garrison, but at least how the garrison is going to manage the site. Could you do your best to provide us with the right information? Is that possible? If so, that would be fine. Otherwise, I can simply ask the legal advisor this question. My understanding of garrison law is that it is not forbidden for the garrison to be asked to come to this council to clarify things for us.
Legal advisor. Can legislative members of the Legislative Council summon the PLA to give evidence at the Legislative Council? Do we have such powers, or can we extend an invitation? Well, it's simple. I think the public are concerned about the management. Currently, we know nothing about that. So yes or no, legal advisor? I think I need to go back to consider the issue. I think you want to know about the defense functions. I don't think I can answer the question off the cuff. It doesn't matter if you can't answer it on the spot. It is important. Do it in writing, please. Mr. Ted Hui, the 5th time, be quick. I also asked for a written reply. For the replies given by the Security Bureau, indeed, they gave us answers. They talked about possibilities like rules pertaining to the use of the place and also the opening hours, etc. Well, we need such information to facilitate our deliberation so that we can tell whether we should endorse it or whether we would like to seek amendments. So please tell us the overall management approach. And then it is said that when it is open to the public, it is always a military installation. But then the public would say that it is a public place, so it is a confrontation. They will say that the military is occupying that site for defense function. Now, a member of the public may want to stay there to have a cup of coffee, to play guitar, to ride a bicycle. Now, it would not be fair to the public if it is found that they cannot do so. So I think it is important to tell the public what they are permitted to do there. Let me finish first. You have extended the meeting by 15 minutes. We've only overrun by 4 minutes. There are still 10 minutes left. Let us ask our questions. We have given you 5 rounds. I've only spoken for a minute and a half. Have we triggered the timer? I have been timing my speech. I've also done so as well. Can you tell how much for how long I've spoken? There are other matters to be dealt with. Exactly. Now I want the information in writing, and then I want to make a comment. Now, if we are unclear about the management model, then it is a replica of the co-location of the immigration facilities, because members of the public don't know whether they will easily inadvertently breach the law when they go there. Because usually people can't tell that they have already stepped inside a military installation and they don't know the consequences. So let me say this once again. For this subsidiary legislation, you empower them to engage a security company to guard the place, but they have the option of getting their own soldiers to guard the CMD. Are we going to see a soldier holding a gun guarding the place? So while we're watching the Dragon Boat race, are we going to see PLA soldiers guarding the place with their guns? Finally, I know that the garrison law applies in Hong Kong, and mention is made about the jurisdiction. Well, it is said that if the soldiers are in the course of defense duties, they are not governed by the laws of Hong Kong. So what about the guards guarding the CMD? It is said that the case would be dealt with by the Supreme People's Court. Say, for example, if it is a matter of encroaching the rights, would it scare people off? Deputy Secretary, I don't think you need to worry. There will be very, very clear signage. So it won't be the case that inadvertently you go there, you breach the law, and then you find yourself in a military restricted area. This won't happen. We will protect our public. As to how it is going to be managed, like how they manage the other 18 military sites, we haven't got the information because it is about the defense function. If you need a written answer, I will work along this line to provide the answer to you. Well, it appears to me that we need at least one other meeting. We'll try our best to move into cross scrutiny. Our clerk, have you checked the available time slots? The 3rd of June, 4:30 p.m. That will be the date of the next meeting. 3rd of June, 4:30 p.m. For our meeting today, that's it. We haven't got any items under AOB. Thank you.